All right, this is the CSRN Week in Review, our weekly podcast where we come to you live from Mont Branch Library. What we're going to do right now is put on our intro video, and one day we might just put our intro video on first instead of, well, this is called a soft open, and just so we can kind of.
One day we might have like a photo collage of all the shows that we've done over the last 3 years.
Okay,
that would be a good intro.
All right.
I'm going to start working on that.
All right. So, hey, hang tight. This is the CSRN Week in Review. We'll be right back.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years, that is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who.
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. Freedom and famine at the same time.
And create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base. And at the same time, we are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. Our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
All right, this is the CSRN Week in Review. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the pronouns he and him, and I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bey. 9 years ago. We can start saying 9 years ago. I
Yeah.
remember when we were just saying 7 years ago. Now it's 9. 9 years ago.
Halfway point, 3
Yeah.
more months.
Right. They had an idea that just ordinary people could speak truth to power. And then later on, they brought me in and asked me if I could help plan an event that they wanted to do at the Frederick Douglass Center. And here we are 9 years later. Today, what am I wearing? Man, I've got my white shirt on, which is, I know, probably horrible for camera.
Yes, it is.
All
It's
right.
all extra sparkly
Hey, I know, but I'm just coming from work to here. White shirt, I got a white hat on, I got my beads today, and as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. And also, I'm an active and registered member of the Nation of Islam, and we just celebrated the 90th birth anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And if you could just imagine, if we kept Brother Malcolm X safe, if we kept the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King safe, if we kept the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey safe, Paul Robeson safe, and if they were able to live out their lives to be 90 years old and sharing their wisdom, just imagine that. So it's great to have one of our leaders here with us at 90, 67 years in service to our people and beyond. So I'm going to process some of that. Just wanted to put that out there because I think that's phenomenal. Because most people say, where would we be if Dr. King was still here? Where would we be if Brother Malcolm was still here? Well, we have someone.
That's almost a century old.
That's still here sharing their wisdom from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and now we're in the 2010. So, hey, that's something to consider. Usually our leaders are either murdered, their character is assassinated, and they end up living miserable lives.
Yeah, but it's now cancel culture. It didn't
Right,
just start
right.
now.
So, but you can't cancel something that you don't pay off. You can't cancel something that you don't control. So praises due for that. So that's who I am. Jody, if you could introduce yourself to some of our new viewers, who you are, what do you have on? And after we do the mission statement, we can give your Black Lives Matter moment.
So, what's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth, the treasurer of this wonderful organization, and a guy that does a whole bunch of stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start carrying little tablets around me. This is what I do. But yeah, for me, it's and I know I got to think of the Black Lives Matter moment and everything like that. But if you don't know me and you're just tuning in, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of it. I mean, we're almost a decade.
Yeah.
In a couple more months. That's why we said we might as well say 9 because we're
past
the halfway point.
November.
So it's interesting to see us evolve. And since I'm the camera guy, and like I was mentioning in our beginning, that hello.
Oh, I don't know what that was. There.
See, you got to stop feeding the people behind the scenes
I
sugar
know.
cubes.
I know. We're working on it.
We're just going to interrupt the show. No, but honestly, seeing us evolve over the years is kind of nice. So we might be putting a collage together, like you see our intro, of just, a flashback through the years from different locations and stuff, how we used to meet, and condense it all in a little 30-second clip, maybe a minute clip.
Yeah.
I'll start working on that, but I also do that stuff. So I'm a poet, author, illustrator, actor. I'm one of your elected officials, precinct captain 18C for bigger cities that will be like alderman, which means I am a part of the political process, but I'm not paid to do it. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. And then I run a sauce company and I actually work in the community. This weekend I'm going to volunteer because a friend of mine just posted, I can't go to those things because I go to sponsorships and stuff. And I'm like,
okay,
well, volunteer. The best way that I've learned through my life into getting somewhere where you can't quite afford it, volunteer. Volunteer later. You get to be a part of the whole day because you got to be there on
Right.
staff. It's like the artist hack. I want to be at this $125 plate thing. Volunteer. Come early, get to meet people, see how the process works. Don't be afraid. I mean, yeah, but that's me in a nutshell. And how you get to this point, how you get to being comfortable on camera in front of different audiences, from politicians to people that are homeless, because I do that branch of work too, where we go out and feed people and don't have to be on camera, not looking for a grant or a loan or anything like that, because it's what people should be doing anyway. Kind of
That's
like
right.
with mental health and stuff. It's now a market to, and I don't know why I'm doing finger quotes, but anyway, it's market to make people do stuff. So none of that. But how you get to be 9 years, we have a mission statement and we have a
Guiding principles.
and that's what keeps us grounded. For those of you out there also, and I'll be really quick about this, that may be listening, because if you're driving and stuff like that, we know it's the evening, you might be getting off of work. We want your hands to be on the wheels. So just listen to us. I am a big brown bear of a man that is covered in tattoos and crystals and stones and bones and a big old staff from my travels. And that is a visual aid to help you hear this voice on the other end of your microphone. So with that, the brickwork, the foundation of this is our mission statement and
guiding principles.
So let's begin. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer, of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence or accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice, yes, voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable, yes, accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, yes, all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
All right. And what we're going to do right now is talk about our Black Lives Matter moment. We've been doing this nearly 9 years together. And before this, you were doing a lot of other stuff.
A whole bunch of other stuff.
All right. So in the 9 years, what's one of the events, forums, award shows that really stand out to you?
It actually just kind of popped in my head, and I was thinking about one of the first times the news started taking us seriously. We had a protest on the Cherry Street Bridge, what some people like to call it. I still call it the MLK Bridge.
Okay.
But that's a whole different story right there, in front of Channel 11. And I don't think they had merged with the other station, because what are they?
36.
Fox. Yeah. And I don't think it was the time. And if you look back at the photos, you can probably see, but it was one of the first times where the Blade came out. And we were there with a mix of everybody, had yard signs. It was one of the first times I allowed myself to be photoed. I still got those pictures to be holding the sign and stuff. And it was one of the moments where I became the person on the side of the street that I would normally have drove by, whether I be on the bus or in somebody's car. And I was like, oh, that's what that means.
All right. Hey, we're going to get right into our guiding principles. This is the glue that holds all this together. Not only we have Jody, Jailyn, Haley, and a lot of other people that are a part of this. So how can you hold all of those personalities together. It's our guiding principles. And this is our CSRN guiding principles. All Black Lives Matter, queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently able Black lives, Black men and women lives, wealthy Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe.
That means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe.
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe.
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe.
Ashe.
Principled struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe.
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movements. Ashe.
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe.
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe.
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement in telling their stories directly. Ashe.
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe.
Ashe.
And my Black Lives Matter moment most likely will be the protest that we had November 14th, 2014. It was probably the first time, I guess, people seriously started doing protests. And we planned to have a protest outside the Common Pleas Court, Lucas County Common Pleas Court. And we decided that if the verdict for Darren Wilson comes back, if they weren't going to indict him, we're going to be out there. And there were so many people that were afraid that if we're going to protest outside the courthouse, what will happen? So I know that a lot of businesses shut down that day. Good for them. All right. We got there. The police came out and they're asking, well, who's the leader? Everybody pointed at me. I'm like, okay, it's all good. So they wondered what we were going to do. And what we were going to do is what you saw us doing. And from there, to make this short, from there, we said that we're going to meet at Kent Branch Library. At that point, it was a Tuesday. And we said, hey, we're going to meet back next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And from there, we've always met.
Yeah.
On Tuesday
has been our day. Super Tuesday.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock. And I'm fortunate to be a part of, to really be a part of this. So that's my Black Lives Matter moment. And also later on, right after our break, we're going to have our brother Jailyn Wallace from the Forward Party come on and talk about the Forward Party, talk about what it means to be a part of a third party. And that's always looked at as a wasted vote. Why don't we have two parties already and they're doing just fine? I don't know about that. All right. So hang tight. This is the CSRN, our weekend review. We'll be right back.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, we are back. We're back, and let's bring Jailyn in the chat, as they say.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can bring him in. See what's going on. All right, Jailyn, can you hear us loud and clear?
I can. How are you all doing today?
Hey, brother, we are doing just fine, just fine. Hey, thanks for joining us. And I think that is really important, especially now we're getting into the season of elections and who's jockeying for position. Now we talked about that third option that is not always going to be Republican or Democrat. People can have a third choice.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if you can, for some of those that are watching this for the first time, can you introduce yourself, who you are, maybe what you're wearing too, just for those that are listening, Jody? All right,
Right,
okay. So who are you? What are you talking about today, and what are you wearing?
So my name is Jailyn Wallace. I am the regional coordinator for the Ohio Forward Party. I am wearing a extremely bright green neon shirt.
All right.
Yeah, my work shirt. But so that's what I'm wearing today. And I am here to talk about the Forward Party.
All right. So whenever we start talking about third party, that discussion, the first thing that I hear is, hey, look, Brother Washington, it's a wasted vote. Why not just stick with the Democrat Party, or why not stick with the Republican Party? At least those are the devils that you know. I mean, at least those are the parties. Those are the parties that we know. So why even get into the conversation of third party?
Well, just to start off, voting. So third parties are not vote snatchers. That's a myth.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the Forward Party and what we are trying to do within our state, our communities, as well as across the country. We are trying to provide a better option, a better vision, a better way forward for all people, no matter what background you're from, to come together, solve issues together, right? And move forward as one community.
All right. Now, of course, we heard you say the word forward quite a few times in that. So, okay, shout out to that. Man, how did it get started? For some that may have just heard of the Forward Party, how did it get started, and why should people want to get involved?
Well, the Forward Party was started in collaboration with Andrew Yang, who ran for president as a Democratic candidate a few years ago, along with Governor Whitman of New Jersey, and also a bunch of other different organizations that came together that were essentially fed up with the bickering with the two-party system. Not enough options, not a lot of quality candidates. Every single year, every single election cycle, having to pick between the lesser of two evils, which honestly, as citizens, we shouldn't have to do, right? Why should you have to pick someone who is, quote unquote, lesser of two evils, right? When you can pick a candidate that aligns with your values and that is not evil.
And always thought about that, when they say lesser evil, well, how much less? A degree less worse than the next person is still worse. It's the difference between 32 degrees and 31. Okay,
Right.
Come on. All right. So yeah, I agree with that. Now, but what about the conversation that I hear often? Well, isn't the Forward Party just the opposite of the Tea Party? So when I hear stuff like that, I ask them to come on, because I ask people to watch the podcast, because we're going to have Jailyn Wallace on. He's part of the Forward Party, and I'm going to ask him that question. So, what would I say back to someone that asked the question, isn't the Forward Party the opposite of the Tea Party?
So to that, I would say we are something totally different. We are an organization that was formed by the common person, right? We are a grassroots organization that functions from the bottom up. So so with it being a grassroots organization, we all have a say in the policy decisions and the structure and what we want out of a party, things like that. So we have a bigger voice, we have a bigger say. And being a part of the Forward Party, I've been a part of the Forward Party since last year, when it first got its inception here in Ohio. So I've seen a lot of changes, and you can see the stark difference between the Forward Party and your parties like the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, because it's all about the people, right? It's all about the community. It's all about talking and communicating and solving issues and solving problems, things like that. So that's what makes us different from everyone else, because we all come from diverse backgrounds, and we're all willing to put our differences aside for the common good and move forward together.
All right, Jailyn, I've been involved with CSRN, which is kind of like the Avengers of social justice, because all of us could easily do what we do by ourselves. I mean, easily, and probably have the same effect. However, something happened that we got together. And within CSRN, we've got some extreme personalities. All right. I'm not pointing at Jody. All right. I'm not doing that. All right. But we've got some extreme personalities. So whenever I hear about third party, I always think about people that have extreme personalities. So here you are. You don't come off as like one of us, that because we have some issues. All right. And I don't know.
So you're trying to say he's a little bit too conservative or held back, reserved?
I'm not going to say conservative. I'm going to say balanced. All right. I'm going to say balanced. All right. So how did you get involved? Because usually some of us that are involved in some paradigm shifting things, hey, we have
some scars, tattoos.
Yeah, we have our scars, tattoos. How did you get involved? And that's my first question. And what is a Northwest Ohio Regional Director? That's what they put up on the screen. So how did you get involved? And what is a Northwest Ohio Regional Director?
So I got involved essentially because I from a young age, I've always been interested in politics. Okay. And as I got older, it was always about finding where I fit in, finding where my place was, finding where God meant me to be, right? So in that journey of dabbling, in the, trying to see if I belonged in the Democratic Party, right? I stumbled across Forward and the vision and the message, right? And it resonated with me because I have viewpoints on both sides of the aisle, right? Okay. So that's what really drew me to this. And your other question, so as a regional coordinator, my main job is to oversee congressional districts 9, 5, and 4, recruiting volunteers, developing these congressional districts infrastructure for Forward. So organizing community involvement events, right? Volunteering efforts, as well as we have our signature gathering so we can become an official state party coming up extremely soon. So one of my focuses will be organizing volunteers in order to get the amount of signatures that we need.
All right. So, how is that going to happen? How many signatures are needed so that the Forward Party will be an established party for Ohio? Um, how does that happen?
So, like I said, it's mainly going to come from volunteers. So it's going to be door to door. It's going to be going to, businesses, going to shopping centers, going to malls, going to where the people are, talking to people, right? Answering questions that they may have, right? Making sure they see us in public so they know who we are. That's how we're going to get our signatures. And I believe the amount of signatures we need, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 45,000 signatures across the state that we need. So
Okay.
once we get the amount of signatures we need, we submit those with the Secretary of State to become an official party.
All right, awesome. Is there a deadline so that if there's people watching, they might want to get involved? So, is there a deadline for when you need the signatures?
So yes, there is a deadline. I don't know the deadline off the top of my head, but there is a deadline for the signatures. It's sometime next year that we need to have all the signatures in order to qualify to run candidates next year as well. So yes, there is a deadline. I just don't know what the deadline is.
All right. We've got a couple more questions before we take our break and come back with our community shout outs and solutions. With all you do, what do you do for self-care? How do you rebalance? How do you decompress? What are your tips for anybody that's doing this type of work, how they can be able to balance off and come back the next day?
You got to have a healthy work-life balance. You got to have a healthy work-life balance. You have to be able to make sure you have your priorities straight. I had a conversation with someone about this same thing. They talked to me about it. So making sure that you put your family first, right? Your job, and then whatever volunteer efforts that you may do. Those things are on the list as well. So making sure that you have all your priorities set and you know that, hey, everything has a place, everything has a time. Making sure you set time, for yourself. If you like listening to music, I love listening to music. So what I do to decompress, I like jazz music. So I'll listen to jazz, I'll cook, right? I'll clean, I'll do things like that to take my mind off of everything. I might have 2 days where I don't do anything with Ford. I don't do any type of activism work. I just relax. And then come Monday, the work starts up again. So I just make sure I take time to put everything into place and to make sure that I get the things that I need to get done.
Now, before we go, is there a phone number that someone can actually reach you or anybody at for the Forward Party?
Sure. Yeah. You can. So the number is 419-469-7790. So you can give me a call. You want to talk about the Forward Party? You have any questions, comments, or concerns? I'd be more than willing to answer those questions for you.
All right, Jailyn, before you go, would you be willing to come back in a couple of weeks and talk more about this? Because I'm sure we're going to get people in our inbox. We're going to get people in our emails asking us, hey, where does that guy come from? Are you going to have him back on? Can you come back in a couple of weeks and maybe process some of the things that are going to be happening on the political landscape?
Of course, and I'll have and we could talk about anything that you all want to talk about.
All right, thank you, Jailyn.
Awesome.
Hey, listen, everyone, this is the CSRN, our podcast week in review. That's our brother Jailyn Wallace from the Ohio Forward Party. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color, in many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant, inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober-safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
Audio Jungle.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN, our weekly podcast. I think I'm pulling something from WTOL, Channel 11.
Yeah.
And it says that the 2 police officers suspended for conduct during during the traffic stop. And it says that officers Adam Hobbs, well, we might as well put their names out. Okay, that's good.
That's what we do.
There's Adam Hobbs and Ashlyn Pluff were under investigation for their actions during a January traffic stop. It says that 2 police officers are facing discipline after an internal investigation determined that they violated department policy. That was during the January stop. It says the reports issued by the Toledo Director of Public Safety, Brian Bird, Monday, that Officer Adam Hobbs and Officer Ashlyn Pluff received this. Here's what they got. The 1 charge of unnecessary use of physical conduct techniques. They got a 2. One got the, which one? This was Officer Hobbs. 20-day workday suspension with 10 without pay. So you got 10 days off, all right, without pay. All right. So let's just say a 10-day paid vacation, all right, for him. Officer Pluff, she had a 1-day workday suspension without pay. And it says held in abeyance for 3 years. So I'm going to find out what that means, all right, if it's held in abeyance. And if somebody's listening, and if you know what that means, I think I know what it means, but I don't want to say what I think it means. And Officer Chief Trinley released a statement. He says, when I became chief of police, I assured the men and women of the Toledo Police Department that as long as they did their job, I would support them fully. However, I also made it clear that those officers who fail to meet the high expectations set forth by both our department and residents of the city will be held accountable. All right. So Ashley, she's the one that you saw punching.
Yeah.
All right. So what I want to do right now, I'm going to put up a video. Let's add this to the screen. I'm going to put this video up. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah.
Police lights and tow truck. Officers Ashley Pluff and Adam Hobbs pull out and the vehicle pulls over. You hear Officer Pluff say, "I'm getting him out of the car." They approach the car. Officer Hobbs opens the passenger car door.
Why are you opening the door like that? You went through an accident scene and you just another car. Shut your mouth.
No, you shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Officer Pluff also reaches for the driver's door and tells the driver to turn off the car.
Turn the car off.
You
Out.
went through an accident scene.
Step out. Get out of the car now.
The passenger is told to get out of the car 3 times, but appears to be on her cell phone. He pulls her out of the car.
Don't touch me. Man, get off me.
He wrestles with 24-year-old Jailyn Smart.
First they get out of the car.
His partner runs over to help him handcuff the passenger. According to a police report, Officer Hobbs used joint manipulation strikes to try to get Smart under control. They eventually get her handcuffed, and then you see the driver get out of the car. It appears she has a cell phone in her hand.
Man, back up.
Officer Pluff goes to put the driver, Melvina Keith, under arrest. She gets her handcuffed.
Hope you die. Hope you die.
Officer Pluff claims the 26-year-old woman was pulling away, pushing her, kicking the officer, and attempting to throw her head back to strike her. While handcuffed, the officer uses what TPD calls hair-head control techniques. Then it appears the officer pulls the woman to the ground and punches her 5 times while Keith is handcuffed. The dash cam video shows the red car driving past the flashing police lights and tow truck. Officers Ashley Pluff and Adam Hobbs pull out and the vehicle pulls over. You hear Officer Pluff say,
I'm getting him out of the car.
All right, family, that is the actual dash cam. And I don't know the last time that that I get stopped, that they come to my door and open the door and pull me out. So definitely that was abusive conduct, unprofessional, and definitely violated those 2 women when they could have easily just stopped at the window, and if they got a ticket, give them a ticket. All right. If they were speeding, give them a ticket for speeding. But no way they should be snatched out of the video. No way they should be told to shut your mouth. And for all of that, the person that did the least, which was Officer Hobbs, he got the 20-day workday suspension. I don't know what a workday suspension is. And 10 of those days with pay.
Yeah. So
all
basically go take a rest.
And it says
vacation.
held, right. And it says held in ambience for 3 years. So I don't know if that means that if he does something else, he gets 20 days suspension.
I'm guessing it's like being on probation, but there are smarter people than us that actually know what that means. Just from our experience and stuff, we know it's just like a slap on the hand.
It's a slap on the hand. Right.
Chill out for a moment. People will forget.
Right. Absolutely.
And then the thing before that, because,
Right. And this was the same officer that swore at and hit O'Shea Jones. Yep. The same. So now she's back at it again. And big shout out to Alexis Means for posting that. She was the first person, I think, that posted it in its entirety. And then I think maybe a couple of weeks later, they had some type of community leader come out and process it on.
Yeah, something or
so,
another.
But it is what it is. So I support those two ladies that were viciously attacked by Toledo Police Department. I don't support what happened I don't support the suspension. I think that definitely they should have got more and also definitely more than one workday suspension without pay. And that's why we supported a civilian review board with the with to be able to subpoena the officers if they were to do something outside of what they were supposed to do. So definitely that lady was assaulted, and if either you or I decided to put somebody on the ground and just start hitting them,
it's different.
Yeah, it will be different, but it doesn't have to be different. So I think that I'm going to bring up the idea of putting together our own civilian review board.
Yeah.
Whereas if you believe that, and you've got footage that the Toledo police went over and beyond what they're supposed to do, then we'll be looking to have them subpoenaed.
Some more records down. I mean, I like the fact that Brian Bird is there, in that aspect. People that we can kind of know and trust. But again, most of it is bureaucracy and meetings and
absolutely,
so much stuff that
absolutely. So for those young ladies, I'm gonna try to seek them out. Have them come on, tell their story, not their part of the story, because it's their story. All right, we're not trying to protect police. They've got enough guns and
military weaponry and all that
to
stuff.
protect themselves. All right, I don't want to hear their side. All right, you already heard their side by their dash cam, and if this is how they act with body cam and dash cam, and they could care less, even though they're being recorded, man, that says a lot. So, but still, shout out to Alexis Means, and we're going to try to locate those sisters, all right, and let them know that we 1,000% support them, full stop, no add-ons or weakness. So, hey, listen, I wanted to just wanted to process that. Also, I think that you had some things that you wanted to discuss. There was a strike going on. Well, I think that's in this week's Toledo.
Yeah, the UAW strike and stuff.
All right. So what do you want to do next? Do you want to take a short break and come back, or get right into it?
We could take a short break. Let people chill out that might want to go back and rewatch the video while we're on break. All that good stuff.
All right, let's do that. This is the CSRN Weekend Review. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent, and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN, our weekend review. Hey, before we go any further, one of the things that we like to do is our Nguzu Saba word of the day, or our Kwanzaa word of the day. And today is Kujishagalia, self-determination. And that means to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. And shout out to Mother Diane Gordon and all of those who organized with the Toledo Kwanzaa House for keeping Kwanzaa 7 days a week, 24/7, 365. Hey, Jody, that's what I wanted to start off with that, but we just had Mother's Day, and I think it means a lot to you. It means a lot to everyone. So what does Mother's Day mean to you? And were there some other things going on the 14th that you'd like to lift up?
So for those of you that know the history of me and my books and artwork and all that stuff, Mother's Day, I guess we'll go on with the nice stuff, was my 8-year anniversary of publishing my very first book, Tears of the Wounded, Volume 1, which came about for an event that's going on in its 8th year of CatFest, about domestic violence and suicide prevention and breaking generational curses and all of that good stuff. And so that was my 8-year anniversary of creating a manuscript at the library and printing it out within a week, and the people buying all 30 copies, where I get number 30 for a lot of stuff and everything. And it was also, of course, Mother's Day. This is 21 years now without my mom. So I made a reel as I was walking into work, which I was also doing that day, encouraging people to love their mother and to appreciate the fact that they can be a mother, whether they're a natural birth mother, adoption, a pet mother, or a plant mother. And it touched a lot of people because, you know, some people can't have kids or they don't want kids. And then we always have the appreciation for the people who's like, hey, I got a pet. But you never hear about the people who have like 300 plants in their house. My sister is getting towards too. And maybe some pets and stuff, but that's something that they nurture and care for and everything like that. So it was nice to get the responses back from that. And then I got to perform at the Unclustered Poetry with thanks to Joni McKentry. Normally I do the live version, but I was at work, so I couldn't do that one. So I performed on that day. So makes it hurt a little less. I got to do the tribute piece for Mom, which was the end of Spoken Truth. And then my latest piece that I have today, which is I Got Trust Issues, which you guys heard. Heard me actually write while we were waiting on the show to start last week, and now it's memorized.
You know, when you first started talking about that poem that you were writing while we were setting up, and you said, yeah, I got trust issues. So I automatically went into, well, you shouldn't have trust issues. Okay. But it was the poem. You messed me up. You had me psychoanalyzing you I used all my skills for nothing. And it was all right. But that was dope. And I can't wait to hear it again.
Yep.
And listen, I wanted to get into the This Week in Toledo.
What about you?
What about me?
How was your Mother's Day?
Oh, you know what? How do we spend my Mother's Day? Man, my wife's car died. She wanted to travel to Cleveland to visit her mom. And I think this would be my third or fourth year without my mom. And my mom was awesome. And I always say that if you lose a mom, or if you lose a family member that you love, because all family members are hard to save, you inherit all of their memories. So that makes me a spiritual billionaire, because my mom lived to be, I think, maybe 76 or 70. Yeah, 76 or 75. So I got 75 years. And if a year is 365 days, so all of those memories I got. I guess maybe the saddest thing that happened to her was maybe her funeral. So how can one funeral mean more than all of those days? It just doesn't add up. All right. So I benefit from all of that. And yeah, my wife's car died. Man, so she was on the turnpike, not too far from where we are now. And she called, hey, what's happening with the car? I don't know, you in it. So went there, took care of her. Hopefully we can get the car resuscitated, or I might end up buying another one.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is.
Well, at least she was saved because car died is one thing and you're parked in front of your house, but on the expressway, a turnpike is another thing.
Yep. So hopefully, the people at Taylor Hyundai do me right. All right. I've been I should call Terry Crosby because he's the Taylor ambassador. So hey Terry, if you're listening, hey, they got my car. Hey, give a good word to Steve Taylor.
Yeah, Lance or Arlinda Self.
Yeah. We might need another car. So, hey, Terry, give him a call. Say, hey, I'm not going to do a Terry Crosby impersonation, all right, because I want him to come back on the show. But yeah, I'm going to call Terry. Hey, they got my car over there. Whatever you can do. We bought cars there for years. So
my sister's last two have come from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had Lance Self was our Black Lives Matter awardee.
Yeah.
Okay, there. I didn't know that. This podcast may have saved me thousands of dollars. All right. Shout out to Taylor Kia. All right. Yeah. And Taylor Hyundai. All right. All right. There you go. Man, this week in Toledo, this was it's a blog or Facebook page where you can go and see all of Sean Nestor's top rated news articles. And I'm going to go through a couple of them.
Yeah.
And then, all right, we'll get into community shout outs and what's on our page too.
Yeah.
All right. We got some stuff on our page. All right. Let's keep going. This is what Sean put on his page. On Sunday, rotten wooden stairs at the Beacon Place Apartments at Cherry and Bancroft collapsed while a 58-year-old resident was walking on them. So it says the resident, a bus driver, missed work the next day due to the injuries, while another tenant had to miss work due to the lack of stairs. So they're walking down the stairs and the stairs just collapsed. So I hope that Beacon Place. I don't know if that's Lucas, if that's the LMHA.
Sure.
All right. Well, anyway, Beacon Place, do them right. All right. Y'all should have y'all steps together. And also, I don't know if you know this, but 525 unionized workers at the Clarios Battery Factory in Spencer Township went on strike. And that's right near where I work. So I drive by them and I blow the horn. I raise my fist, and I hope they get everything that they're due. They say that they do a lot of work for Clarios. They've been working well, and they should share in some of the benefits. Mm-hmm. All right. So keep it. Hopefully they keep it going out there. And also the commissioners announced the plan to develop the new jail downtown at the 3-acre site located near 12th and Southern. I think that's where Shoemaker Loop is. So I don't know if they're taking the Shoemaker Loop space or the space right behind, but it's right behind where the youth court is.
Okay.
So it's still going to be right downtown. It should have went with that that should have been the first thought, but they caught the blues.
They had something built by now already.
Right. And also on Thursday, local convenience store owner Nabil Shaheen pled guilty in federal court to assisting with the bribery of city council members in order to obtain favorable zoning permits. He faces up to 20 years and a $250,000 fine. Always wanted to know what happened to the person that was bribing them.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And also, if
more details come out.
Right. Or more details come out in that because somebody had to bribe him. Somebody had to set him up. So I don't know if Nabil was a part of the setup because obviously he's pleading guilty, but somebody was involved. Mm-hmm. Somebody got cut out and somebody got set up too. And for Tyrone Rowley, Gary Johnson, there was Larry Sykes, and the other lady, why can't I remember her name? But all four of them.
Yeah.
Man, all four of them. I know the councilwoman, but I can't pull her name
Bancroft, up. Or off of Bancroft.
Yeah, they're off Franklin. She lives right there on Franklin. and she supported us. She's come to a lot of our events.
Former Bells bondsman.
Why am I not pulling up her name?
It's okay though. At least her faces are black.
Right. Why do I want to say Harper?
Yes.
Harper?
Yvonne Harper.
Yvonne Harper. Okay. In 2020, all 4 of them were pushing for police reform in the strongest way I've ever seen.
Day of the vote to stop the no-knock warrants.
Look.
Chokeholds.
They were united on making real police change. And however politicians get support in the community, they get support. However they get donations, they get donations. However, it was something how those 4 were targeted.
Yeah.
And so shout out to all of them, because the good that they were doing was not duplicated after they left.
Very true.
All right. So the good that they were doing stopped once they were set up, or however it happened. So still shout out to Yvonne, still shout out to Larry Sykes, still shout out to Tyrone Riley, still shout out to Gary Johnson, who pleaded not guilty. And he's still awaiting his situation. And if you look at his situation, it really looks like somebody was saying that Gary was doing something that Gary was not doing. So if you're in politics, hey, be careful out there. Once you start advocating for the poor, once you start advocating for the oppressed, hey, make sure you got your stuff together, because they will try to make it look like you're doing something that you're not doing. And let me just read a couple of more of these things. Hey, ProMedica's bond rating this week. Okay, I'm not going to say Pro Mafia, not on our podcast. I know you got me. All right, what they going to do? All right, they're going to cut off their little big screen TV so I don't see it downtown. All right, okay. It says their bond rating this week from downgraded. Fitch downgraded ProMedica's bond rating this week from BB plus to BB negative, 1 grade above, characterizing as a high credit risk, while Moody's maintained the grade of BA2 for ProMedica, 2 grades above the same designation. So 1 downgraded them. Moody must have said, hey, look, guys, I'm going to keep you guys looking good.
Right.
All right.
Balance it out.
All right. Oh, man.
Gotta make sure to get all those credit checks and scores. They're almost black.
Right. So shout out to Sean Nestor. All right, I'm gonna just shut it. I'm gonna just shut it down right now. But it's true. It's true. How can you not have money for the Jeep Fest and have to go to the county with your pockets out saying, hey guys, can you loan us more money? Can you give us more money? And we're going to produce less.
And for people that hear me say it, because I say it a lot too, I call them Pro Mafia, and it's a term of endearment.
Okay.
Because they essentially gave Toledo an offer we couldn't refuse, and revitalizing our downtown and all this stuff and buying property and everything like that, essentially making them too big to fail, kind of like banks. And that's why I come in with it's good, but it's bad. And we all know the history of Toledo. That's what we call all the mafia, and because the location of where we were. So it's some people consider it as negative. You go to Chicago, they don't call them gangsters anymore. They're trying to gentrify and whitewash that era of everybody there. But to me, it's, so
we're just
we
starting.
Understand the dirtiness of the hands.
So we're just starting out the gangster phase. What are you saying? All right.
I don't know. It's interesting, and I wish no bad on anyone. I can't laugh because I remember at a point in time where people was like, "Oh, you should just go to them," and I'm like, "What about us?" Because I remember performing down at the park that's theirs downtown, where they have the music festivals,
right?
And was actually a part of the last music festival that was funded and done by the community. We didn't need to have this big headliner because we had all local artists. And anyway, but again, I appreciate some of the stuff that's being done because it did infuse a lot of other organizations. We got the walkway over the east side now that people are going to forget that it's still the east side, and Chris is out there painting it right
that's
now.
true.
So
That's true. That's true.
It's ebb and flow of stuff. We got the Riverwalk coming. We would have never been able to do that. I grew up with Portside, and until they came with their stuff, that kind of just sat and died. So the offer we couldn't refuse.
Okay, all right, and here we are.
I might write a book on it.
Here we are. Okay, that sounds like our next poem. I said the offer you couldn't refuse. Let's begin. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Hey, listen, let's go to see what's happening on CSRN's page. We're going to share that now. Come on now.
And as he's going on to that and stuff, I do want to say, because summer is coming, we got events coming all around the place and stuff like that. If you have something that is positive for the community, that can be shared, that could be talked about, that is mostly neutral to all age groups, which means children can come, which means that people can be inspired.
Right.
Let us know. That's the first thing in our name anyway. So, and you can either tag me or Brother Washington, and we'll throw it on our page. We know we have a reach. What is our page? Like 6,000 people, and our reach is about 20.
That's right.
To 40,000 a month.
Except for our YouTube.
YouTube, but YouTube is a whole different area, and we're gonna work on that. Stuff. Get more subscribers, more consistent content.
Right.
But that is also a whole different world. I've been speaking to a lot of content creators, and I'm sorry, I can't put out 3 videos a day, 7 days a week to keep that generation of people coming back, because most people will subscribe, but they'll never watch a video again. So it's a whole thing. I don't want to beg people every single video to subscribe, but keep that train moving. If you like something and you want to go see it, and you don't want to be on the Facebook social media overlords, go to YouTube, go to Spotify.
All right. On our page, we have Off the Record. That's an event coming up soon.
Yep. That is, again, Chris Rodriguez, Contron, and Luke Stockley, who own the River East Gallery. I think I said that right, because there's 2 River Art Gallery things in Toledo, but they're the one on the east side that you always see me visit.
Okay.
And they have another exhibit coming in. Sorry, Contron, I couldn't make the closing, but scheduling hours wasn't working. But I've been to almost every single art gallery, and it's always inspiring, always something new. This one's surrounded with music.
And Friday, we have the mix.
Yes, there's a lot going on Friday. So the mix is another thing that I'm a part of with the Arts Commission. Or if you go on their page, you're always going to see me plastered there with my smile. To volunteer or to come and see what's going on with artists. We got the signal box rap thing coming up. Again, if you feel creative, it's something that's nice for the city. I saw it in Columbus years ago, saw it in other cities, and that's here.
All right. And let's scroll on down. So now you know that CSRN's page is popping. So go on our page. So when we look at the analytics, we can see that our
numbers are up. And
our numbers are up instead of what they are right now. But it's all good. All right. What about the post? This post that we put up there.
So this is CatFest. One of the reasons why I am a published author right now. The event that I was talking about with D. Brown 8 years ago. A woman by the name of Kat Lambert was murdered by her boyfriend, I think it was husband, unexpectedly and all this stuff. And the arts community decided to come together. We wanted to do a festival of the things that she loved and supported. My contribution, of course, being poetry and stuff, but I was asked to write something. And I decided that I'm going to write a book on all these schisms that don't get talked about now that are kind of monetized. And that's, we're doing it again for the 8th year. Artists, singers, musicians, everything you could think that celebrates life is going to be there. This is me again. This is the Poetry at the Beirut. It's an open mic / feature. Me, Arnold, Ashley, and there's another person, I can't remember their name, are going to be there.
At the Beirut restaurant?
At the Beirut, my first time performing there.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think they could do stuff there because the parking lot's always full.
Yeah, well, it's going to be full with people coming to see a show.
Wow,
So
okay.
I'll be there with some books and stuff. We are going to feed you. We're not feeding you lamb chops, as she expressed to me Thursday.
Man.
But there's going to be some food there. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, make sure you come out and get your ticket. And yeah. And this is another thing put on by my friend D. We are having June 17th, a funky fusion mix of reggae and vendors and all this stuff. We are still looking for vendors. You can contact me or D Brown, preferably D Brown, so she can give you the price and all the details and good stuff like that. But that's going to be June 17th at Joey Brown Park. I believe that's Joey Brown Park. I always spell it wrong when I look at the name and stuff.
Yeah.
And it comes in.
Me too.
But that's over there on Broadway, right before you hit the zoo. By Flock and stuff like that, if you're familiar with the area and everything. So we'll be over there June 17th in the morning from 10, 11, 7.
I think so. Okay, so what's the Giggle Jam? I saw that. I said, hey, that's definitely something that I'm going to hit up.
Yep, Giggle Jam is going to be, I think, my second time in my career performing with comedians.
Okay.
I have a piece called This Stage that I actually wrote because it was my first time. Shout out to Mocha from here. From here that invited me to that event with Sean Showtime and a whole bunch of other comedians and stuff. That was for a domestic violence event for Winneba Tricklet. And this year, a friend of mine, Vanessa, she does the truck, the corner store truck. She does that, and she asked me would I be a part of it. Plus, there's a whole bunch of local artists on there, as you can see from the flyer. That is my second event because I double book stuff because it's only me and I forget. But that's my second event and that's going to be a later event at the Code. Don't read the bottom of that. You don't have to look into that too quick. But anyway,
all right. Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's going on June 19th?
On June 19th. Juneteenth is a big event. This is our second year being federally recognized as a holiday and all that good stuff.
That's right.
So this is the 4th annual Juneteenth celebration that started out at Wallbridge, then we moved to Glass City Park, then we're back at Wallbridge. This year we're again back at Wallbridge.
That's what's up.
And it's kind of self-explanatory. You see it on there on the flyer, whole bunch of stuff's going on, artists, vendors, poets, all that good stuff to celebrate what the day is. There are several events in the city, and I believe later on in the flyers, we're going to get the Frederick Douglass and a whole bunch of other things are doing stuff on Juneteenth. If you have a flyer, if you have an event, let us know. This is August. This is another thing that I'm doing. Again, I wear too many hats, but it's easier than me looking at my phone trying to find events. This is August 5th.
That's right.
With a friend of mine named Rochelle. We're doing our second annual motorcycle ride to stop the violence, where we have speakers and vendors and all the same thing, bringing a couple of people in from the community that can maybe talk about it, people that have lost loved ones to domestic violence and everything. So another good event to come out to if you want to. Taco Wars. This is my first time being a part of the Taco Wars. I got to get that Sean, deposit to Sean. But yeah, if you don't know what it is, friend of mine, also went to school to be a culinary chef and all that stuff, get our licenses and everything. Plus I knew him from life before life and stuff, but he's doing the 3rd annual one. So this, if you're looking, this is the original. If you see another one, it's not his, and I can't tell you not to go, but city see stuff that's popular. So anyway, that's his. Catfest is going to be on September 3rd on Adams Street this year. I know we always change locations. Last year we was at the Lucas County Fairgrounds. The year before that was, I believe, at Quintita's, the place on Broadway. Anyway, but yeah, so another Juneteenth event.
All right, and this is the
one for the Doug.
Right.
So this is what the Frederick Douglass Center is doing. Also, they have a parade attached to that.
Let's see if we can find a parade. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. And again, if you know of an event that's good in the city that's coming up, I got to find the flyer for the African American Festival, which might be on the page somewhere.
Well, let's see. I don't know.
but that one's coming up. West End Festival is coming up. So there's always something to do in the city. And this is just one little small pocket because I can only see so much. But if you're into other things, there are other music venues. The Peacock is back open again. I saw something that they're having. So, yeah, there's the 18th Annual African American Festival, the 14th and 15th of July.
All right, awesome. All right. Hey, listen, it is a 7:19.
Okay.
How about this? Let me take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the 90th birth anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Then we're going to get into either some loose ends and in 5 minutes of heat.
Yep.
All right. Hey, family, this is the CSRN Weekend Review. We will be right back.
Pathway Incorporated Brothers United program believes that children are important. Every day we support and advocate for fathers because when children have involved fathers, the whole community thrives. The fathers that come into the Brothers United program are mostly young fathers who are primarily gang members or drug dealers or those involved in lots of trauma from the time when they were youth until now. This program has fatherhood classes which teach you about your role as a father, the importance of being a father, healthy relationships, how to co-parent and work better together with your co-parent, and then economic stability, how to get a job, how to keep a job. It is so important for fathers to learn to take care of their children holistically, not just emotionally, not just physically, but financially as well, because children need a holistic approach.
I really just needed help with being a better father and looking for a job to be able to support my kids.
Some of the problems I was facing when I joined Brothers United was communication with my children. Had some time apart from each other for a while, so they gave me the tools to really get back in communication with them.
Fathers will come into our program with their heads down. 2 weeks later, their heads are up. 3 weeks later, they're laughing and talking. 4 weeks later, they're building a bond. And by the time we get to 8 weeks, they're saying, hey, we want to stay here. What can we do to stay connected?
It gave me a better perspective on how to look at things from other people's point of view. You know, sometimes us as men, we get caught up in being prideful and arrogant, thinking we don't need the help. We do. And we just have to put our pride, selfishness, and arrogance to the side. And when the help is there, take it.
Hope plays the most important role in everything that we do because we have to have hope. We have to remember that fathers are important, and we have to not only say it, but we have to live it, we have to breathe it, we have to do it, we have to convey it to everyone.
Let's get a BU Nation on 3, fellas. 1, 2, 3. BU Nation!
The dads give us hope. The dads supply for us on the days when it gets hard. On the days when we've seen more violence than we ever want to see. On the days when we've lost some dads to jail or to murder, they give us hope. And so the hope that lives can change. If you invest in them, if you believe in them, then lives can change.
Brothers United changed my life, let's say, because of where I come from, what I've been through. I learned to understand it is help out there. Don't be scared to ask for it. If you don't reach, you can't grab. That's it.
All right, that was the Brothers United program, and shout out to our sister Avis Files, the executive director. Sister, keep doing great work. Hey, listen, we're going to get right into the next segment, and what I want to bring up, let's bring up this picture right here. I don't know if you're familiar with the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He has been on the front lines for Black people and beyond since the early 50s. And most time people say, well, what would happen if Dr. King was protected? What would happen if Brother Malcolm X was protected? They would still be here. what would they be doing? Would they still be standing strong? I believe that they would be. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he celebrated his 90th birth anniversary on May 11th. So for me, that's always an important day because we still have him with us. 90 years old or 90 years young, still with us. And just a quick testimony of how did I find out about the Nation of Islam. I guess I was in Penn State or State Penn, whatever you want to call it. And most people that are confined citizens come to bump into, well, they are exposed to Islam. And that's where I had first heard of the Nation of Islam. And after my release, I came to live in Toledo, and there was a local mosque here. I found out where the brothers and sisters worship here, which is 1698 Nebraska. That's at the corners of Brown and Nebraska. My Hey, just sign me up. This was in 1991. So I ended up participating in the Million Man March in 1995. And then the year 2000 was the Million Family March. That's when we brought the whole human family together to recognize that family is important. All right, marriage is important. Community is important, regardless of creed, color, or however you grew up or wherever you grew up. And then in 2005, there was the Millions More movement. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan brought together all of the Black organizations and decided that we can work together. And just from that, I joined the shout out to Anita Madison that made sure I got the link so that I could just join on my phone. All right, yeah, okay. But and then in 2015, all of us were part of the 10-10-15 Justice or Else. All of the youth organizations realized that we don't have to ask permission to do good.
Yep.
And we don't have to be up under one umbrella. All right. You could just get it however you can. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has reached out to every segment of Black life. If it's law enforcement, the nurses, some of the fraternities, the sororities, educators, you name it, the religious community, you name it. We've been there and to unite our people. So shout out to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Shout out to the Nation of Islam for protecting him. And if you ever visit Muhammad's Mosque number 91, you'll notice that we have a search procedure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for everyone. We know the times, hey, no weapons. All right. So if something were to go down at our mosque, no one would have a weapon. And I will hope that no one would do that because you're not gonna fare well. But we love our people so much that we want them to be able to come and hear a good word and be safe. So shout out to the Nation of Islam. Shout out to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, 90th birth anniversary, because you really only have one birthday. You're only born one time.
Yep.
After that, you'll have an anniversary. All right. All right. So
I tell people happy revolution around the sun.
And I see you do that. Yeah. But if you're still saying birthday, hey, it's all good.
Yeah,
but,
just like the people that say Grand Rising.
Right. And my last shout out is for Mott Branch Library and the entire staff that's here that makes sure that the red carpet is laid out for us each week that we're here.
The red, black, and green carpet.
The red, black, and green carpet, right, is laid out. Thank you. All right. I stand corrected. They make sure that they lay out the red, black, and green carpet so that whenever CSRN comes here to stream our podcast live, that we are made so comfortable being here in this space. Hey, listen, Jody, I think that I wrapped it up for all of the things that we said we were going to do today.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
In the city and stuff. Come out to the mix. Go out to see the exhibit over at the River East Gallery.
Yeah.
I believe the Truth is doing something as well for the Black Gala. That might be on our page. And then I think it's going to be a good week. So go outside if you can.
That's right.
Enjoy some nature. Hug a tree. All that good stuff.
All right. So do you want to get right into 5 minutes of heat? All right. And 5 minutes of heat is the way that we close out our meetings. If we were meeting in person, which we always say we're going to get back to, but we never got back to it. But
it'll come if it's needed.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's right. Just like the next protest will come when it's needed. All right, and this is our way of closing out our meetings, not with just a gavel, not with just someone saying meeting adjourned. We are soulful people, and everything that we do is soulful. Everything that we do is revolutionary. So what better way of closing out our meetings with creative expression? So what do we got for today?
So last time I was in the building, because last week I was virtual, you guys heard me talk about this poem that I was writing and stuff that I kind of finished right out there. So from then, I went on to perform it 1, 2, 3 times and then perfected it. The difference in what I write and what I perform is, some yeses, some pauses, some annotations, I guess I could call them, on the piece. Is not exactly what you'll get if I have a live audience, but it's as close as possible, because a live audience, anything could happen. And this is also where I pick up those little pauses, or when someone says rewind, and I know how to do all of that stuff. Things you just can't get from the screen. Talked about this before. But so this is the performance version, which I'll be doing on the 23rd, next Tuesday, because unfortunately, y'all, I won't even be able to log in and do virtual, because I'll be on stage performing at the Beirut, that thing you saw on our page, which make sure you go to the page, make sure you go to the YouTube and all that good stuff. Make sure you support Cash App, PayPal, all the good ways you can.
That's right.
And it's subscribe, hit all the bells and everything like that if you're watching on other platforms. But this is, yes, I have trust issues somewhere in the middle. Let's begin. Peace. If you're hearing this or reading this, you already know why we came here. Yes, I have trust issues, but I learned them somewhere along the middle. You see, I have trust issues because, and if you, yes, I have trust issues, but I learned them somewhere along the middle. If you take offense to this or think somehow that I am attacking you, you might want to look in the mirror, because we all believe the lie about something or someone at some point in time. And I'm just using mine to get what's off my mind. See, I have trust issues because every time I think that something's going right, there's always that little reminder in the back of my mind that this could go completely wrong, and somehow I wasted my time on someone or something that I found precious, when really they were just another lesson of just not getting it right this time. See, I have trust issues because every time I try and give someone or something this ocean of experience I've learned through trial and error, they were really just looking for a bottle of water, maybe to dip their toe in and see if there really was depth here. See, I have trust issues because the sky is not actually blue. And growing up, my entire childhood, I was told there were 9 planets. And by the time I hit adulthood, there were only 8 to view. I have trust issues because every single fairy tale, folklore, childhood, bedtime story growing up never came true, except for the trauma part of losing a parent or two, stress, trial, tribulations, and finally figuring out, yes, finally figuring out that it might not have been you. See, I have trust issues because I grew up hearing about racism, prejudice, crooked politicians, and found out most of those people, yes, most of those people are just like me and you, who never got a chance to meet the opposition, so they just live on the fairy tale of this is what that statistical person looks like from outside view. I have trust issues because growing up and finding my purpose through the process, I found out most trust issues, yes, most issues start with you. Too many things that something or someone is wrong, yes, wrong because they don't think like you, when really the first person you're supposed to be able to trust is you. I have trust issues because I know that somewhere between you hearing this and me or you reading this, you might have blanked out for a moment or two. And that part that I stuck in the middle that was really important got glazed over because this might have been too long for you. Trust issues and peace.
All right. And as always, we snap our fingers.
Yep.
Hey, you know, I'm realizing that I took my hat off. I was wondering why is this breeze? It's a lot more breezy here, but it's all good.
Wait, you took your hat off?
Yeah, I had a hat on.
I did not even notice.
Oh
that.
yeah, it's all good.
Video back.
It's all good. Hey, listen, and as you saw on our ticker, you can support us via Cash App, #CSRN 419. Our PayPal is CSRN 419, and you can really connect with us on all of the media platforms. And as always, Jody, all lives can't matter until
Black lives matter.
And Black lives can't matter until
all Black lives matter.
Justice or else.
Yeah.
Peace.